All right, the next inductee, Mary Bowermaster. She's presented by Coach Melissa Seamers. Melissa?
In 2011, a group of local athletes, coaches, and running gurus in the Cincinnati area met and discussed the vision Steve Nestor had for a Greater Cincinnati Running Hall of Fame. That same year, many of us read in the paper about the life of a lady named Mary Bowermaster, a master's track and field athlete who had passed away at the age of 93. Mary was born in 1917, the same year women earned the right to vote in state elections in Ohio. The women's suffrage movement was in full swing, but it would be 58 years before Ohio would hold its first track and field high school girls championship. So unlike many of the athletes being recognized tonight, we will not be sharing Mary's high school and collegiate stats and achievements. The opportunity was not there. It wasn't until Mary was diagnosed with cancer in 1979 that the story of her official track and field career would begin. Mary survived the cancer and a mastectomy and began competing in the sport of track and field at the age of 62, an age when many of us have been or will be long retired from competition, maybe even retired from coaching track and field to work on our golf game. Mary Bowermaster was racing 100s, 200s, lawn jumping, high jumping, and shot putting well into her late 80s, winning medals and setting masters records at meets around the world. Most of us did not have the pleasure of knowing Mary or even watching her compete, but we are thankful to have her son, Dr. Don Bowermaster, here tonight to share stories about his mother and her heroic journey with us as he accepts this award on her behalf. Thank you, Dr. Don.
I'll have to get my composure. Mom passed away about 3.5 years ago. And this is the first Hall of Fame for her posthumously. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't really prepared to talk to all you people. On the way up, we live in Granville, Ohio. On the way up, I said, Gloria, how many people do you think will be there? Maybe 20 or 30? And I got here and I go, oh boy. But I would like to thank the Greater Cincinnati Running Club, the Hall of Fame Committee, and especially Melissa, who was sort of my contact person. And when she called up, I cried then too. So it's just a little bit hard right now to accept this, but I really am very grateful, and she would be too. I saw the young people today, and what an inspiration to see them. The young athletes that tend to be our future leaders and tend to be the people who will take us into the next decades and be leaders in our world. And that's, to them I say, keep it up and stay in sports. As Rhonda was saying, she came in before was Title IX, and my mom was born, as Missy was saying, way before Title IX. She was born in what is now, excuse me, I have a little COPD too. She was born in what is now Daniel Boone National Forest. And actually, to get to her house, you would have to take a paved road and then get on a dirt road and then take a gravel road, and then off the gravel road go across a river, and could only get across when the water was down, and then go back 2 miles down a place called Little Double Creek in Kentucky. And nowadays the kids, they get this wonderful training from the beginning. And back in those days, the only training my mother had, and I used to talk to her and I said, "Mom, what'd you do as a kid?" I said, did you love to run? And she said, "I loved to run." She said, "I ran everywhere. I did not walk at all." And I said, "Well, how did you get the experience? Or how did you train? Or what did you do?" My mother came from a family of 19 brothers and sisters. So there was a large extended family at that time. And lots of aunts and uncles and older brothers and things. And she says, my job was to sit in a tree down at the end of Little Double Creek where the river is. And if I saw the log coming, I had to run back to Grandma's house, and it was a log cabin, and tell my aunts and uncles so they could shut down the still and leave it go. That's an honest to goodness story. And sometimes she wasn't real proud of her heritage, but I am very proud of it. It all started with cancer. She was, had cancer, very strong-willed woman, and it all started when she had her cancer. And that's the first time I've ever seen my mother where she was sort of hopeless and scared. And she was that way for about a year or so, recovering. And then as the story goes, it was my dad, in fact, who saw the advertisement in the paper for it was a senior meet down here in Cincinnati. And he said, "Hon, why don't you go try that? You've always loved to run, and you're fast." So she said, "Okay, I think I will." And she did. And she blew away the competition. I don't mean to be boasting too much, but she certainly did. Because of that time, a lot of the senior meets, were just sort of elderly people participating in, which is good, but not real competitive. So then she continued with senior meets around the country, or around the state, and she got better and better and better, and really wasn't meeting too many challenges at all. And she was running the 100 when she was 62 in a little over 12 seconds, something like that, which is pretty daggone good. And she could outrun my brother and myself until we were in high school. And she chased us down quite a few times, needless to say. But in the backyard, we always had high jump standards, long jump, all the things. We're very athletic. And she'd be right out there with us. It wouldn't matter what it was, and she would compete with us. She was very, very competitive. But then with her cancer, we'll go back to there again, she ended up traveling around and then eventually started getting into masters competition, which is a more competitive level. And there you usually see the ex-college athletes who are running, and the age of competition starts at 35 in the masters, or at least it used to. I think it still does today, and then goes in age groups up from that. So there, she first started getting some competition, but she was winning, especially in the dashes, the 100 and the 200. And then eventually, she decided, well, let's see what we can do on a world level. And I was fortunate enough to travel with her to Puerto Rico, Rome, Melbourne, and other cities to watch her run in the World Championships. and she got the biggest kick. It was in Rome, and it was the 100-yard dash. And in her age group, that's when a lot of the German athletes were running in 1936 in the Olympics. So she was running against some of them, but in age group, you know. And she beat a German and a Russian. And she said, see, I told you I'd get them back for that World War. So that was really good. She didn't like Italy at all. Italy was great. Now, each of these places where she ran, they ran in Olympic stadiums, which made it really nice. So the Rome Olympics were where the Rome in 1960 something it was run there, and in Melbourne and in the Olympic Stadium there. So it was quite a thing. And the records that I have listed in the book is only her master's records. She holds many, many other veterans and senior world records too. It came full around, the circle did, from Kentucky back in 1992. The Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders, you know, when he started that, he was in his 60s when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. So they decided to have a nationwide competition for the person who achieved the most after the age of 60 and began after the age of 60. So they had like 10 categories, including education, literature, science, sports, and some various other ones. And there was 10,000 entrants in this. And they picked a winner from each of the categories to and paid their way down to Corbin, Kentucky, where Kentucky Fried Chicken was started, which is fairly close to Clay County, where Mom grew up. And they had the 10 or 11, I think this was 10 winners there. And out of those 10, they were going to pick a grand champion, I guess you could say. And Gloria Dukakis, an actress that a lot of us know, was there to present the award. And Mom won the award. And with that award, she got a $10,000 check, which was really something, you know. And the first thing she did is she gave some to my brother, some to me, and then she kept some for herself. So she really shared a lot. They had a jet there, a private jet, waiting, and took her and my sister-in-law to New York City because she was going to be on the Today Show the next morning. And they put them up in the Waldorf Astoria. Now, Mom, in all of her life, had not been to anything much more luxurious than a Motel 6 or something like that. And I got a call the next morning from her. And of course I said, how you doing? And she said, fine. She said, but I can't believe it. I had breakfast this morning. We had room service. And I had oats, which she ate a lot, you know, warm oats, and a piece of toast and an orange juice, and it was $28. And she said, I can't believe that. And I said, Mom, welcome to the big time. But she did have fun. She was recognized. She played tennis with Mike Wallace on TV. She's also a very avid tennis player and played way up into her 80s in a league where most of the ladies were about 40. And Mike Wallace invited her to New York. He had heard about her. Invited her to New York. She was on his program and then invited her to play tennis at his club at the New York Racket Club, which is one of those downtown clubs and things. And Mike and my mother, now my father was dead at this time, so we'll let you know that. But Mike and my mother, all they did was flirt with each other, and he kept telling her that she had the most beautiful legs he had ever seen. So, but anyway, other than that, and she won an ESPY award and things, so, you know, you can go on. But for her, it became a new way to lead life. after a tragedy. And it was, you know, one of her big things that she just loved so much. She was invited to Eastern Tennessee, you know, the Tigerettes down there, which have a world-class track program. A lot of Olympians came out of there to talk to them. Excuse me, pull my pants a little bit. To talk to them about life after your college career and the things that you can do as far as staying involved. And my wife Gloria, who is sitting there, she went down with Mom, and Mom thought that was the greatest thing, to be talking to the young girls who have had a chance to run and had a chance in organized sports to excel, that their future was in front of them. So again, thank you. I appreciate it.